Greetings, folks. In this video, we're going to cover the Bertrand Duopoly model. And this is a two-firm oligopoly model where the firms are selecting an optimal price. This is different than the Cournot duopoly model, which has firms selecting an optimal quantity. So oligopoly is a market structure characterized by a small number of firms that are making similar products. Because there are a small number of firms, the action of one firm affects the others. And because of that, firms act strategically. And to look at strategic behavior of firms, we use the tools of game theory. In the Bertrand Duopoly model, the behavior of firms involves choosing a price to maximize profits, accounting for the price that's selected by the other firm. So the best response function in the Bertrand Duopoly model sets the price of firm 1 as a function of the price of firm 2, and likewise the price that's set by firm 2 is some function of the price set by firm 1. So now we can look at an actual market to solve the Bertrand model. So we'll assume that market demand is given by quantity equals 500 minus 500p. So you can rearrange that to P equals 1 minus 0.002 times quantity. We'll also assume that firms can produce at a constant marginal cost of 20 cents or 0.20. In a duopoly model, the relevant demand curve is actually the residual demand curve, which is market demand minus the supply of the other firm. So in this figure, we show firm 1's residual demand curve in green, and we also show the price that's selected by the second firm, which is P2. If firm 1 has a higher price than the price set by firm 2, then it sells 0. And that's because consumers want to purchase the good at the lowest price possible. So if firm 1 and firm 2 are selling identical products, and if firm 1 has a higher price, it won't sell anything. On the other hand, if firm 1 has a price that is lower than the price set by firm 2, its residual demand curve is actually the market demand curve. So to kind of sum this up, if firm 1 charges a price higher than firm 2, it doesn't sell anything. If firm 1 charges a price that's lower than the price set by firm 2, it faces the entire market demand curve. We can use firm 1's residual demand curve from the last slide to think about its best response function. And in the Bertrand Duopoly model, the best response function for firm 1 is that the price set by firm 1 is some function of the price set by firm 2. Given the residual demand curve faced by firm 1, it wants to charge a little less or the same amount as firm 2, as long as the price is greater than or equal to firm 1's marginal cost of production. So here we can look at some examples of firm 1's best response function. If firm 2 charges 40 cents, then firm 1 will charge 39 cents. That's a little bit less than what firm 2 is charging, and it's also greater than its marginal cost of production. So then if firm 2 charges 39 cents, firm 1 will charge 38 cents. Again, wants to be a little bit less than what firm 2 is charging. Then let's say firm 2 charges 38 cents, so firm 1 will charge 37 cents, etc. Now let's go down to the point where firm 2 is charging 21 cents. At that point, firm's 1 best response is to charge 20 cents. Again, that's a little bit less than firm 2 is charging. And it's greater than or equal to, or in this case, it's equal to its marginal cost of production. Then if firm 2 charges 20 cents, firm 1's best response is to charge 20 cents. So there you have the Nash equilibrium. Both firms will charge 20 cents. So again, if firm 2 is charging 20 cents, firm 1 will charge 20 cents, then firm 2 will charge 20 cents, etc. So you have this Nash equilibrium. Now we can see what that looks like on a figure. I show a 45-degree line. Of course, at the 45-degree line, both firms are charging the same amount. You can see the best response function for firm 1. Again, that's P1 is some function of the price that's set by the second firm, or P2. You can see the best response function for firm 2, and that's P2 is some function of the price set by the first firm, or P1. And these two best response functions are set up such that the price that's charged by each respective firm is a little bit lower than the price set by the other. And then these two functions actually intersect or meet at a price of 20 cents. Again, that's the Nash equilibrium. So using the best response functions for both firms, we see that the Nash equilibrium for the Bertrand model is to set price equal to marginal cost. As it turns out, that's the same outcome as you would have in a perfectly competitive market. Along with the outcome that price equals marginal cost, the Bertrand model also suggests that very small price changes can be met with very large changes in quantity. So here on the graph, you see firm 1's residual demand curve, and you can see what happens if the price changes just a little bit around the price that's set by firm 2. When the price is just a little lower than P2, the quantity demanded from firm 1 is way out here. So the price that's right here, the quantity demanded for firm 1 is here. Now let's say the price goes up just by a little bit. So the price goes from here up to here. What happens to the quantity demanded? Well, because the price asked by firm 1 goes above the price that's asked by firm 2, all the customers want to then buy from firm 2, so the quantity demanded from firm 1 goes down to 0. So again, the Bertrand model, because it has this kinked residual demand curve, suggests that a small price change could lead to a very large change in the quantity sold by a firm. Now I should mention a few caveats around the outcomes that we just found, and that is in the Bertrand Duopoly model, we assume that consumers have perfect information about prices, and you need that so the consumers can jump between the firms based on the prices that each one is asking. Also, we assume that firms sell homogeneous goods. And finally, we're assuming that firms have perfectly elastic supply. In other words, firms can satisfy the entire market demand at the same marginal cost. So then becomes a question, well, what happens when firms have capacity constraints? And we'll look at that in a different video.